The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to the Fine to Fab show with Lisa Lieberman-Wang, helping women reclaim their inner peace and power, going from feeling fine to being fab, fabulous, awesome, beautiful, serving to empower you to break through the barriers that weigh you down, to live an authentic life that is healthy, happy, and free. Now, here's Lisa.
Welcome. I'm excited to have you here with us. I'm Lisa Lieberman-Wang, your trusted guide on your journey from feeling fine to being fab. And I know that this show is going to be phenomenal because I have a friend with me, Cyndi, and I'll be sharing a little bit about her. She's going to be joining us and sharing not just her story, but some of the tips and tricks and things that can actually help you take yourself to living a healthier life. And we're going to share all kinds of information, insights, scoops, and stories, and fun. I want to make sure you all know that we are going to be giving away a free ebook. So if you're listening, you're going to want to pay attention because we're going to give you two opportunities to do that by liking a Facebook page as well as texting the keyword FINE2FAB to 90210 and hitting send, and we'll show you the other way later. And also, you can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter at Lisa Lieberman-Wang, and check out our website for blogs, free webinars, other news and information at www.fine2fab.com. I want you to know this is a live show, that if you want to call in and ask Cyndi and myself any questions, you'll be able to do that by calling in to 561-422-4365 or Skyping in at W4WN Radio, and know that you will be live, so be sure to mute until we call you so that we can share what's going on. So what I'd like to do at this time is introduce you to this fabulous woman that I had the pleasure of meeting through another friend, and we've been following each other and connecting for, oh my God, Cyndi, I think it's going to be about 7-8 months already, but let me tell you about her first. She has an incredible career spanning over 2 decades in the fitness industry. Cyndi Poe brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. As a certified personal trainer, author, motivational speaker, her experiences have equipped her to teach others how to create a healthy lifestyle. As a young adult weighing over 200 pounds, tired and frustrated with the physical and emotional toils of being overweight, it was time to regain control of her life. And what followed was a journey of personal discovery and self-development and self-improvement in which she learned the practical principles and everyday applications she needs to completely transform herself from the inside out. These insights have led to regular television, radio appearances, group lectures. Cyndi is proud to impact these lessons to others through a series of workshops, books, which we'll be raffling off later and giving you an opportunity to get, and we'll give you simple instructions to do that, as well as webinars and personal coaching. Are you there, Cyndi?
I am here, Lisa. So excited to be with you.
Oh, I'm happy you're here. This is awesome because I know that we had the pleasure of being together in New York and you understanding where my journey came from, and then after I got to know you better, seeing, boy, we've had parallel lives, but in the same token, very different. And I think a lot of people out there will relate to the stories that you're going to share, as well as the ways to overcome some of the things that have happened. So let me ask you to do this. Although I kind of gave a thumbs up, you know, some of the times when we have different people on, Cyndi, I like to let people know where you're coming from. And there's so many of our listeners and even my clients today, when I read even your book, I turned around and I said, oh my God, I want to give this to one of my friends. I want to give this to one of my clients, because your story, although it might have seemed like it was unique to you, is not one that others don't share. So do you want to give a little bit more of your background so we can let others hear that?
Absolutely. And that's what I found utterly amazing about this, and it's actually why I even wrote the book, is because I found that as I started talking to clients and listening to their stories, it was such a familiar story. We all have our struggles. We all have our issues in life, and it's just amazing. It's very comforting to know that you're not alone. So that was really the purpose of writing the book. Basically, I started out in my 20s as a very typical, what I thought was a healthy person. I was actually got very involved in bodybuilding, and I saw that as a healthy lifestyle, now knowing that not at all. It was not at all a healthy lifestyle, but I never struggled with weight. I didn't have any problems. And then like I like to call it, my series of unfortunate events started setting in as I got married. My husband at that point was in the military, so he was shipped off literally right after our wedding to Panama, came back from that. I was pregnant. He was shipped off again to Iraq. I had this baby. My father was dying of cancer. Suddenly finding out my husband's going to change his life. I went from being a size 4 to being a size 9 in a matter of just a few months. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal because people are going, oh, size 9, big deal. But when you're used to being a size 4, you go to a size 9, then we move, more things happen. I'm putting on more and more weight. I'm finding more and more excuses to not take care of myself because I'm busy taking care of everybody else. And before I know it, I'm over 200 pounds, and I can remember it clear as day. I have a very supportive husband, and I remember him saying to me, you know, you were always really happy when you were working out. Why don't we find a gym, and you will get you in the gym and you'll feel better. And I remember saying to him, I can't go to the gym looking like this and have people see me. And that's when I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those ridiculous sounding people. I'm like, how did that happen? And so I started realizing that it was in my power to make the change. I had to make the change for me, not for my husband, not for my daughter, not for anybody, but for me to be the best person that I could be. I owed that to myself. And that started a really interesting journey for me. I tend to pay a lot of attention to the people in my life, and I found such value in everybody. Even now, all the clients, sometimes I feel like I learn more from my clients than they do me. I get so much out of it.
Yeah, that's so much part of the process. I think that when we stop growing, we're dead. So it's a good thing that we continue to learn. But let me just go back to what you were sharing, because even from a size 4 to 200 pounds, I mean, people don't even realize the magnitude of what that is sometimes. And for me, I do understand, because I've gone, I've had a 30-pound weight span from a size 0 to a 7, and people would be like, a 7? Well, yeah, if you understand that based on your frame, it's a lot of weight. It was actually a quarter of my weight I gained. So it was like carrying a couple of babies.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I want to ask you is, what was going on in your head at that time? Because obviously you were coming from a personal fitness industry. You already knew better logically. You knew it in your head what you needed to do, but weren't doing what you knew. What was going on in your head that allowed you? What were some of the things you were saying to yourself that allowed you to gain the weight and get to that size?
I think that, when I look back on this, and this is exactly what I find myself discussing with women is, how do you get to that point? Nobody weighs 200 pounds because they like donuts. That's never the issue. It starts in your mind. You start blocking the good thoughts and the good processes and stuff in your mind, and dwell. I really believe it was because I was dwelling on all the negative things that were happening in my life and not focusing on the positive things. Started feeling sorry for myself, going through things. Losing my father was like a really big deal to me. Moving away from the place that I had lived my entire life, all the people I knew. And I feel like, and I don't like to use the word excuse in a negative sense. I don't mean that, but I allowed myself excuses. Well, it's okay that I eat this because I deserve to eat this because I've just went through this tragic loss, or I'm in this strange place, so it doesn't matter if I don't work out. And I allowed myself to let all the negativity, and this is what I truly believe. I believe that when we open ourselves up to negative, that the results in our lives that shows is negative. So what was the turning point for me was realizing that it was all the negative that I was focusing on. And the minute, like literally the moment that I started focusing on positive things started happening. So that's when I started really seeing that this whole connection between the mind and body was the important connection.
Right. And we even talked about the title of this being the mind-body connection, because some people will go and they'll exercise and think that's the answer, but then they'll go and pig out on some unhealthy choices right after. Or people will turn around and just think, I'll eat right and I'm going to lose weight, but they don't realize that building the muscle and other things is going to help, as well as the endorphins of the energy you're going to get.
Exactly. It's a complete process. You have to look at it from all standpoints. There is no one single thing that is the all-around fix. You have to be willing to change everything, and it's very important to be well-rounded in life, and that includes your mindset as well. So we talk about with my clients, we talk about mind, body, soul, and we talk about it in that order. You have to get your mind fixed first. You have to get in the right mindset, and you have to be open. Instead of what I would say to a client, and this is what I used to say to myself, well, I deserve this chocolate cake because I've had such a crappy day. Well, now I say, well, I deserve to treat myself much better and do something nice for my body because I had some bad things happen. So now let's be nice to my body. Now I had these, we all have bad things that happen. That's just life. But instead of rewarding yourself with something equally bad, now I look for really good things to reward myself with. Yes, you do deserve to pamper yourself and you do deserve good things, but what you have to do is you have to see that the chocolate cake or whatever the thing is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. So you're not doing yourself any favors. And once you start seeing food, and this is what I talk with my clients about, is you have to see food differently. You want to see food for what it is. Food is energy in for energy out. That is what your food is. So if you want good energy coming into your body, you want the food to be good food so that the energy that comes out is good energy. And there's so many resources. I find I often joke I'm just a factory of regurgitating other people's really good information. I'm very good at collecting information and sending it back out. There's so many wonderful people like yourself. Your book is it's amazing. Like it's so insightful, and it opens up your mind to seeing things differently. And that's what I try to do, is to get people to look at all the positive reinforcements that there are out there from so many people who have been on the journey already.
Absolutely. And we're going to go back to some of the things that you had to do, because sometimes we say it's so easy, as we change the mindset of that chocolate cake, instead of rewarding, that's no longer a reward. Why don't you, for me, some of the things that I had to do, honestly, is, food was my comfort and my love. It was my first go-to. So even anybody who has challenges with eating too much and getting to that point, I know they can all relate to this. And to say, well, reward yourself with something else, they won't think of exercising or going for a walk or calling your friend or reading a book or meditating or doing yoga or playing with an animal as being a reward. The reward is
correct
to the food. So what were some of the things that you had to do to change that association? Were there stories you had to tell yourself? Was there something you were saying that changed it besides that shift of, I'm not going to the gym, I don't look good? Yes,
exactly. Well, there absolutely, absolutely. There's, and I'm very honest with clients. There's no overnight transformation. This is a process. And actually, one of the things that I'm very clear about with clients is we're not expecting you, well, this is what I say all the time. Every diet in the world works while you're on it. Okay. The minute you're no longer on the diet, it doesn't, obviously, that's when you go back. And that's what happens with the unfortunate thing is when people are looking for guidance because they really do want to change. I mean, anybody who's ever been on a diet didn't go on the diet because they thought it would be fun. They were looking to make a change. That's why they started it. So you have the desire for the change. You just need a better roadmap. And so what I found was I knew that, let's face it, I'm a Southern girl. I'm from the South. We fry everything, okay? I grew up, my vegetables were fried. We fried steak. Krispy Kreme donuts were a staple in my life, okay? That's just the way life was. Those are comfort foods. They do make you feel full. They make you feel loved. They make you feel warm for that moment. What you have to realize is those things are also making you very sick. And even though you might not realize that's the thing that's making you sick. And that's what that was what I told myself is, because it wasn't just that I was overweight. I was having migraines all the time. I had back problems. I found myself anemic all the time. I was having all these physical issues as well as just the weight. And it was, I knew because of my background in fitness that, obviously I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not doing the right things. How do you make that transition? Well, you don't try to do it all at one time. So you try to tell yourself, okay, when you definitely want to reach for the Krispy Kreme donut, instead of reaching for the Krispy Kreme donut, allow yourself something along that same lines, like, okay, I'm going to have, instead of the Krispy Kreme donut, I'm going to have a scoop of ice cream instead. And I'm going to put fruit on it, and I'm going to do it. And we make these, this is how I work with my clients. We can still have these things, but we're going to make better choices. So instead of having maybe a particular kind of ice cream that has more ingredients in it than, it's like a chemical compound, you'll pick up Breyer's ice cream and you'll have that. It's about being able to substitute. There's always something good you can substitute for something really bad.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's so easy and we make it difficult because It just seems like there's more of an association, I think, with the food to an activity or a time in your life or a relative or something that happens a lot too, where people, and I've seen it with many, where the association of, a cake would be, well, grandma always served cake, so cake makes you feel good because it's warm and comforting. Or for me, my dad always liked those diet yogurts because he was always on a diet. And we would go out on, we'd get on his motorcycle and go out during the week, and we'd go to get these skinny yogurts, whatever they were called back then. I didn't know how fattening they were until later on in years.
It's a sad truth.
but so I associated, for years, even after I moved out of the house, I always went back for that and didn't even know why it became a binge food, but it was association of a time I spent with my dad, and different things. I think sometimes we don't even acknowledge that. So sometimes it's not even the food we want as much as the connection and the love that we're looking for, and we can get it so many other ways.
Exactly, and you are so right. That is so often the connection that we find. You'll hear me mention Krispy Kreme all the time. I talk about this. I have a great Krispy Kreme story, and I love to share it. And it's just so funny because for me, Krispy Kreme is a connection to home. Now there are Krispy Kremes in the north where we live, but that was a southern thing, and it meant home to me. And whenever we would visit my mom, there was always Krispy Kreme at home, and it was this thing that related to home. And it was just so funny because when they first opened a Krispy Kreme up here, I was kind of excited, and I hadn't had anything like that for years. And my husband and I stopped. We were like, we're just going to get some, take them home. And I'm standing in the store, and I was getting nauseous standing in the store. I thought I just had like a long day or something. I said, well, you get them. I'm going to go to the car because I don't feel well. We get home. He gives me the donut. 2 bites later, I'm like, I can't eat this. Like, this is making me physically sick right this moment. And so now I've chosen to just have the memory of home and not the donut anymore. It's like, but you're absolutely right. It's like a lot of times we connect. Well, think about it. Every celebration that we have in life is wrapped around food. Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, Easter dinner, birthday cakes. Wedding cakes.
My mother used to tell me if I didn't have the cake and it was someone's birthday, she'd say it's bad luck. And now I'm okay. I tell them it's okay. You're going to have good luck because I'm not eating it.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna pass on some good luck to you instead of a cake. But yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be a lot nicer after as well. So I'm not going to have it.
Exactly. And and the other thing is too, like, once you get to that point where you're controlling food and food isn't controlling you, you can have things that you want to have. I like a good piece of cheesecake, but I make sure that it's a good, worthy piece of cheesecake if I'm going to eat it. And the thing that I spend a great deal of time teaching clients as we go through the process is planning for those foods. If it's somebody's birthday and they're going to be insulted if you don't have a piece of cake, and you don't want to be that person, then it's fine. You take a small piece of cake. Just know that before in the morning that you have something really healthy to eat, that that you get your greens in because you're going to have a piece of cake.
You're nicer to me because I actually would just tell them I'm allergic or whatever the case is, and I refuse to actually compromise my own well-being to make someone feel good.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. And that's good because you know what? You're strong enough because you're owning that. And that's awesome. I mean, that's what it is. That's yours to own. And I think that's awesome.
Well, Cyndi, let me ask you, what has to happen? I mean, we all hit there when you hit threshold, when you say I've had enough. And I know for you, it was more than just the weight. It was another thing that actually triggered you making that final decision to make that change. You want to share that?
I'm not sure if you're referring to my daughter or.
That's what you shared.
Yeah, that is, I have to say, my daughter has, I'd like to think that I'm this, wonderful parent and everything and that I've done all the right things for my daughter, but I have to say that in truth, my daughter has probably influenced me more in my decisions about my life than the other way around, I think. I just realized that as a mom of a girl, I wanted to teach her. I just envisioned her at 25, 26 years old, overweight, not taking care of herself, and the fact that she would have learned that from me. I wanted to be a good example for her. I wanted her to, I wanted to be around for her, and I wanted to be around for my grandkids. I mean, it's such a responsibility being a parent. Anyway, but being a mom of a daughter, I think is a huge responsibility. And I wanted her to see her mom be strong and in control and taking charge of her life because that's what I would want for her. And I feel like it's so funny because I had a client, I tell this story often too. I had a client that I was training for 12 weeks. We had been training together for 12 weeks and she was, slow and steady. It was okay. She was doing fine. But she came into the training the one day and she said, "You're going to be really mad at me because I ate Oreos, and it's not even that I just ate them. I ate them out of the bag, so I can't even tell you how many I ate." And I said, "Well, I'm not mad, but I'm just, my curiosity is that we've been working out for 12 weeks. Why do you even have Oreos? Like, why do you even have them in your house to be able to eat them?" And she goes, "Well, I have kids."
We've heard that one before, haven't we?
Wow. So I stepped back and I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that the foods that got you in a position that you have to come and pay me to help you get out of the situation, you're feeding those to your children and you're okay with that? Like, I see a problem with this because you want to set the example. There's no reason you're not taking your kids to McDonald's and giving them Oreos doesn't make you a better parent.
Right.
And so that again is a powerful message I think we're sending. I think that if you're making yourself a salad for lunch and you're giving your kids chicken nuggets, I think you're missing the point.
Right. And as if that's a bad thing, I think that comes back to the association of what's good or what will they like. But you know what? We all learn to change our palate based on what we have. But the key thing is even the fact that we hear it all the time, I have to have it because my husband loves it or the kids want it. And I pretty much have come to terms with, for sometimes there are things that just will not go in my house because I know that in a bad place, if I ever get there, that if it's in my home, it might be devoured by me. And and for that reason, my husband totally understands. And some people have said to me, well, you know what? I want to get it because it's cheaper to buy it in the store than it is to have it at a restaurant. I'm like, I'm willing to spend the $5 for a piece of cake versus $5 for a whole cake, because that way I know that only that piece will be eaten when we're out versus the whole cake when we're home. So,
and you know what? You're absolutely right, because think about that. I mean, what are we putting the value on? Are we putting the value on the savings or the health?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're going to pay later. You said it too, that you're going to end up paying later. They'll need someone like you or me to help. You'll help with the personal fitness. I'll help with the mind, or you'll end up needing all that. But there's other pieces that happen too. And you do share some of the other ways to do that. I know in your book you have these 5 steps for evaluating goals and starting a clean slate, and don't do it alone, making your plan and never stop learning. There are some pieces in there that you talk about that even comes to meditating and doing that. And I found that a lot of women we just had a guest another week. We were talking about rushing women's syndrome. And
that was a great show, actually. I listened to that.
Oh, was she not phenomenal? Dr. Libby is awesome.
She's wonderful, wonderful.
And what was interesting is that even having the lifestyle we live today, to take the time to exercise, to take the time to meditate, to take the time, that's a huge thing. And it was a big challenge for me, Cyndi, quite honestly, and you don't know this. I used to say that exercise was against my religion. and people thought there was a real religion, so no one questioned it.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
So, but I now I love exercise. As a matter of fact, I needed to work out before we got on this show. So what are some things you can help other people do and our listeners to be able to make it something they'll love to do? Because I know you love it and you're such a great facilitator to get other people to make it their lifestyle. Can you share some ideas of what people can do to put in?
Absolutely. The most important thing to finding an exercise regimen is to find the one that fits you. Just like we all have different personalities about hobbies that we like, or television shows that we like, whatever it is, we have our personality. So everything isn't for everyone. Like yoga is a wonderful practice. I think yoga is probably one of the best overall workouts, but it's not for everybody, because not everybody is in that kind of mindset that they are prepared to do yoga. Just the same as like with Zumba. There are people who love Zumba because it's fun, it's exciting. I have 2 left feet. I am not comfortable in a Zumba class. So you have to find the thing that you don't hate doing, because movement, because I like to take away the word exercise. I don't like to use the word exercise because for some reason exercise for people who don't exercise is a really negative word. Right. So I like to use the word movement. So that means that movement can be, if you like to be outside, taking a walk is wonderful movement. It's so important to move your body. Walking is great. If you like to have fun and be silly and you're not shy, Zumba and those kinds of classes, like we have Dance Fit, that's our trademark class. It's a lot of fun. You get to dance around and be silly and you're getting your movement in. If you really like to kind of be by yourself and nobody really paying you any attention and you're kind of in your own little world, yoga is perfect for you because nobody's looking at anybody else in yoga class. They're all in their own mat. They're all in their own space. So you just have to kind of try things on. Don't be afraid to try new things. And if you're not sure about movement, I tell you what, a personal trainer is a great investment. If you find a really good personal trainer, and like I tell every single solitary client, because I have clients across the country, so I can't train them all. So I can't quite fly everywhere. But I tell them how to interview trainers. And to find a really good personal trainer is worth the investment. It's just like finding a good doctor. The personal trainer, he or she will help you find your niche in movement, and that's what you just want to be moving. You just want to be moving. So don't think about it. If you're somebody who you've never exercised, or you used to exercise and you hated it, or because you went into a gym, I hear all the time, like, you go into like one of these big gyms and it's the land of the pretty people where everybody's thin and they're all matchy in their outfits and they have their makeup on and their ponytails are perfect, and you just don't feel comfortable in there. You got to find the thing that works for you. Maybe you like to swim. Maybe any kind of movement is good. There's no such thing as bad movement.
And that's a great suggestion, because sometimes, somebody will go to the gym, not have a good experience, and never go back.
Yes.
And think that's the only form. And for me, we've had a gym. My husband even convinced me to spend a fortune to get a brand new gym when we already had a functioning Norlist, the whole deal, and treadmills. And I'm saying we had a full gym, Cyndi. And he still convinced me that if we had a new one, he would use it. So...
Well, now here's a key to that. This is what I tell everybody. If you are not somebody who can self-motivate, if you need to be motivated by somebody else, do not put gym equipment in your house. You'll never use it. If you have a treadmill or an elliptical in your bedroom, it'll become a clothes hanger. If you are not self-motivating, and not everybody is, and that's okay. It's perfectly okay if you're not a self-motivated person. That's who you are. Own it. But realize it, and then go get yourself a personal trainer.
Absolutely. I actually had somebody come to my house for the first year just to get me downstairs in my own home to use the equipment. And then I ended up finding DVDs and other things, and I finally enrolled my husband to be part of it. But it was without a doubt a process.
Oh, absolutely. And plus if you put all this great equipment in, I had a client who, just for time-wise, wanted to work out at home. She was very self-motivated, but she got this giant piece of equipment in, this cross-cable thing, and had no clue how to use it. No clue. Ended up with a shoulder injury. It's like, okay, you need a little something, a little help. So just know what, ask yourself the right questions. Is this something that I enjoy doing? If you're having to drag yourself there, it's going to last about 3 seconds, and then you're going to be, not wanting to do it anymore, and you're going to be at a failure point, and then you're going to feel bad, and then you're going to go back and eat the chocolate cake, to make yourself feel better. So it's this vicious circle. So we have to communicate with ourselves. We talk about communicating with other people all the time, but we have to communicate with ourselves too, and be honest with ourselves.
And Cyndi, we have a call-in listener, so I'm going to, because they're holding here, let's find out who it is and what question they have for you.
Okie doke.
Hello?
Hello, who do we have?
Hi, this is Barbara, and I'm from the Quakertown area.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, I'm really enjoying the show today, and what Cyndi's saying is really hitting home with me. And I had a question for Cyndi. If she has any specific tips or whatever you're talking about, keeping this whole balance, but for women like at that point, pre-menopause or menopause, like I find that when I exercise, it doesn't seem to help my metabolism. It seems like everything's changing, and it just seems like everything's out of whack. And in addition, he's trying to balance a job and kids and aging parents. And I just want to know, in general, do you find that this is a common thing, or do you have any specific tips for that to help put everything back into its proper place, so to speak, so I don't go for the chocolate cake?
Oh, it is actually because that's where I'm at in my life too. So I find that, and maybe it's because that is where I'm at in my life, that I find that that is a very common thing. When we get to that point in our lives, it's so funny being women because we're made of estrogen. So it's, yeah, where things are stacked against us. But we constantly, our bodies are going through these change. You change at 18, you change at 24, you change at 30, 40 comes, then you're close enough on 50. Everything is in a constant change, and hormones are definitely an issue with our metabolism. There's some wonderful studies that they've been doing about hormone balance and thyroid, because so many women are having thyroid problems, and they're on Synthroid now, and there's all these things. So it's definitely it's like a big puzzle, and it's hard sometimes to find all the pieces. But again, we have to start with your mindset. You mentioned some very interesting things. You mentioned raising kids, having aging parents. It's an interesting place to be in life, where you've got the kids on one side, you've got the aging parents on the other side. You're wanting to exercise, but you just don't feel good. You can't seem, no matter what you do, you can't seem to put the weight on. We have to, again, just like I always say, we have to start at the mind. So you have to get yourself in a place where you're realizing exactly what's going on in your life, and then you're going to deal with each of the situations. You can't deal with them all at the same time. You've got to address them. And then again, so if you have kids, teenager?
Yeah, one lives with us and one does not. One's 13, one's 17.
Okay.
She kind of pops in and out, but she's getting ready to go to college and all that sort of thing. So
awesome. You know what? You got a 13-year-old. Great to take your 13 on mother-daughter walks and talk.
We do.
So
a lot
awesome.
of that. Yeah.
That's terrific. So if you're doing those kinds of things, and maybe you start finding fun things to do with the family, because you've got one going off to college and you've got the one coming up into that wonderful 13 age, go on family bowling nights or do these things. So then you're addressing stress, and you're also addressing movement at the same time. And if, as far as with the food and everything, this is what we all have to know, is we have to realize that food is our medicine. We cannot keep using it as a stress reliever. Food is medicine. Yeah. If you're feeling sick, you need to think about what you're eating. And one of the best, when you're starting a big journey like this, trying to figure out the thing, I think one of the best tools that you can use is journaling. And when you journal, not only journaling about how you feel during the day, but how do you feel after you eat a certain thing? Because if you're hormonal due to premenopausal situations and stuff, certain foods are going to affect you differently. So you need to know if chocolate is an issue for you. You need to know if caffeine is an issue, which are all very common. So start journaling and just keep moving. I promise you that if you pay attention to what goes into your mouth, you pay attention to and what comes out. Exactly. That's exactly the truth. If you pay attention to what's coming in, you pay attention to what's coming out, and you do movement, the rest will all just start coming in, and it's a step by step. There's nothing fast that's going to happen, but it is a process. But you've got an interesting spectrum with a 13 and a 17-year-old.
It's interesting. I also have two sons that are grown. They're almost 30, but they're not in the house anymore. So it's definitely interesting, and I almost feel in lots of ways like you're starting over again, and it's just sometimes I just kind of sit here and don't do anything because I don't know where to begin. So anyway, thank you so much for your insight on that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Barb.
Awesome,
have a great day.
Thank you, sweetheart. So, and that's a big point, Cyndi. A lot of people sometimes use, as you had shared in your book, is like you use being pregnant and you said you lost the weight, or you didn't lose the weight, and we use it as an excuse. And sometimes we have people using menopause where it's a real challenge and the hormones are crazy, but then they use it as an excuse and they say, I don't know why I'm gaining weight, as they're putting the cake in their mouth. And
yes, exactly.
I've watched so many of those examples. I was at a graduation party last weekend, and there was a lovely woman there, and she had grossly overweight. And as she's complaining about why she's gaining weight, she doesn't understand. She literally had a dinner-sized plate of desserts in her hand.
Yes, exactly.
And so those are things that are a big challenge for people. I think that reality of journaling helps a lot because it makes us be honest. And even if you're going to have it, you have to write it down. It changes what we do. And I believe also having a vision of where things are going to go. When people are overwhelmed, they don't usually see the time to take care of themselves. I never saw the time to exercise. I had every excuse of why I didn't have time. And what I found is the complete opposite. When I do exercise, I actually get more done because my head's not all over the place. I'm in a better place. I feel better. I have more energy. I'm ready to do more. So even today, I didn't get a full workout in. I said 20 minutes is all I need. I just needed to do something. And
yes.
that's the piece that I think is where your movement is so cool. Like, it's not about exercise. It's moving and doing something.
Exactly. Yeah, because, when you label it exercise, people think of this, I got to go to the gym for 2 hours. I got to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. I got to do that. No, we just need to move our bodies. 10-minute walk outside at lunch is fabulous. I heard a most wonderful practice, and I mentioned it to a group of ladies I was speaking with, and they were like, you know what, I'm seeing this all over the place. I guess it's the new fad, but people are having their work meetings with their group, their colleagues at work, walking. Like, they're taking walks and talking, and they said that the productivity level is just going through the roof because you're just more relaxed rather than sitting around a board table. And that's not always possible, but if you have your work team and you've got to come up with some ideas, go take a walk around the park, the local park or something for your lunch break. And it's amazing how productive you become when you start moving your body. There's no bad things that can happen from moving your body. You're never going to injure yourself with just pure movement.
Now, Cyndi, obviously one size doesn't fit all for people. It's not like you should there's no shoulds. You should exercise 3 times a week, whatever. But what is a recommended type of regimen for someone who is looking to lose weight and get healthier? What would be something as a minimum to help the metabolism start actively moving again?
It is a very individual thing, just like you're saying, but if you're somebody who already, let's just say that you do walk 3 days a week, but you're still overweight and you're not losing weight, well, obviously you have to do more. So for people who really need to lose weight, who are on a regimen because they have and when I think about people who need to lose weight, I'm talking about anybody who needs to lose 25 pounds or more. The people who are looking to tone up that 5 to 20 pounds, that's a tone up. Like, that is something that can be done a little differently. But when you're talking about losing weight, you have to make some changes in your life. So I recommend that if you want to see a change, if you are ready to see a change in your life and you're ready to dedicate, those who are at that spot, I say 5 to 6 times a week with some type of movement. Regimented movement, whether it's walking for 30 minutes or it's doing a Zumba class or going bowling or whatever it is, you're doing some type of movement. It's to make the change in your life and make it happen, you have to do it more. Now, if you're somebody who you don't work out at all and, hey, I need to drop some weight, 3 times a week is probably fine. You'll see some difference. It's sad to say, but it's I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here, but it really isn't rocket science. You have to burn more calories than you consume. You have to move your body, and you'll lose weight. It's just that simple. It's just about making the right choices. And if you're not, and what I do say is, if you're not able to make the choices on your own, this is what I tell everybody. You want to surround yourself. The first step is look at who you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with like-minded people. If you want to lose weight, don't hang around with people who are eating poorly and need to lose weight too. If you want to be more successful, hang around with successful people, not people who aren't doing the correct thing. So, make your choices starting with who you're surrounding yourself with.
Okay. That's awesome, because it is true, because the people the whiners and diners, the ones going to the diner every day or after every gathering.
Yes.
And then, it's about wanting, sometimes we want to just be part of something, but they're not on the same path you are. And there was a time for me where I had to change my friends or change my life because it wasn't serving me. And I think that's a big piece. And find other people that like what you like so that you'll do more of that, or like where you want to aspire to be, as you just said. There's a couple of things I want to make sure we address before we go. But before I do, I'd like you to give our listeners just something they can apply daily to live an authentic life now for themselves. Give a tip or two.
I am a huge believer in mantras, in putting out in the universe what you're expecting to get back. Whether it's something as simple as, I am happy, healthy, and kind. And you use that mantra every day. You write it down. You have it on your bathroom mirror. You have it on your refrigerator door. You have it on your computer at your desk. Saying good things to yourself and saying them out loud, putting the good things out in the universe, being very conscious of what we say, what we put out there, because it is just absolutely the truth that what we put out in the universe, if you get up in the morning and you say, today I'm going to have a great day, chances are you're going to have a great day. If you get up and you go, oh, I'm so tired and I can't believe I have to, that's the day you're going to have. So wake up every day with your good intentions and saying, you know what, today I am going to move for 30 minutes, or today I am going to eat really healthy today, and you're going to do it if that's what you're putting out in the universe. So the first step is say what you mean and mean what you say.
I like that. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And I think as people see the vision of where they want to be now, they'll actually start acting as if before they become, which will make it easier for them to make better choices. I always like to say that, you need to love yourself enough to say no, and saying no to the cake or to the ice cream or to the bad choices is saying yes to you. And exactly. We need to say yes to us more often, and that includes mind, body, and soul, as you shared. Cyndi, you're doing so much right now to give back, and I would love you to share your mission and how people can connect with you so that they know, because this went so fast. I'm amazed the time is over. So why don't you share with them how they can connect with you and
Absolutely. Well, we have a couple of exciting things going on. Serenity Fit is my brand, and at serenityfit.com you can visit. And we're actually we are a local fitness facility that we are actually doing classes locally. But the new thing we're doing is we're offering online classes. That's going to be starting this month. So you can go onto the website, subscribe to the emails. But I would also like to encourage everyone as I'm building my Cyndi Poe website, because I'm doing more and more speaking engagements and working with people individually. Like I said, I have clients all across the country that I work with, that I have my CyndiPoe.com website is launching on Monday. Yay! So I'm so excited.
I just want to make sure they know how to spell Cyndi as Cyndi, and that's P-O, so they go Cyndi Poe.
Yes. So what I would like for you to do is, for anyone who will go onto Facebook, and we're all Facebook users, don't even pretend you're not, we all love it, go onto Facebook and find me, Cyndipo, Cyndi Poe, on Facebook. Friend request me with a message, FIND to FAB, and I will email you a copy of my ebook, 5 How-Tos for a Healthier You, and we'll connect. And I am always, the one thing that I do that I think makes me a little different than most coaches is I make myself 100% available to all of my clients and other people who have questions and stuff. I'm on top of it pretty much all the time. So my favorite story is I'll be somewhere and getting text messages from clients. They're at restaurants wanting me to tell them what to eat. It's hilarious. But I love to connect with everyone. So if you connect with me on Facebook, friend request with a FIND to FAB message in the request, you'll get a free book.
Okay, wonderful. And remember, this is going to be one of those things where you hear so many great pearls. And Cyndi, thank you, because during the conversation and other things that you said, I'm sure when you listen back, there were little things sprinkled that I can take away from everything from knowing that if it's not for yourself, doing it for others as you did for your daughter, setting an example, which we need to do for the next generation, making the time to just create movement in your life, to feel better. And one of the big ones I got from what you shared is that how much of what we put in, like you said, food is medicine, and what we're putting in and what it's actually affecting, and looking at that as a whole. So thank you again for sharing our mind-body connection. And I want to thank our listeners for being here. And remember to join us and be part of the movement from Fine to Fab. And Facebook me as well at Lisa Lieberman-Wang, and Twitter and LinkedIn. And remember you can just text the keyword Fine to Fab to 90210, and also be able to be one of the winners for the free book. But even better, everybody's a winner if you just go and Facebook Cyndi Poe on Facebook. So we love you. Thank you for joining us. Until the next one, remember, you're fab. Have a fabulous, awesome, beautiful day.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Now that I have your attention, ladies, when you need help breaking through the barriers that weigh you down, turning to food is not going to help, and starving yourself along with ongoing feelings of helplessness and frustration will not help either. The cycle of self-sabotage, disordered eating, and stinkin' thinking has to stop, and there is no better way than with other smart, business-savvy women like you who are making the change with best-selling author, licensed master NLP practitioner, and trusted guide, Lisa Lieberman-Wang of Fine2Fab.com. Lisa will help you get that breakthrough you've been waiting for. Go to Fine2Fabshow.com right now for all the details of the life-changing 10-week transformational program and the special listeners promotion. It's time to turn your life from feeling fine to being fab. Fabulous, awesome, beautiful. Go to Fine2Fabshow.com now.
When I see